shutdown mean for its operations and its investors? Let's find out from April Tan, Head of Research for COL Financial Group. April, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, can you tell us, can ABS-CBN survive a shutdown without the advertising revenues from both its free TV and free radio operations?
It's going to be difficult because, for example, as of the first 9 months of last year, which is its latest FS, ABS gets around 50% of revenues from advertising from these channels that are now no longer operational. So that's really a big chunk of what they get. And aside from that, the other subsidiaries, for example, Sky Cable and Kidzania and the others, even the online business, they're still losing money at this stage. So aside from that, on a monthly or on an annual basis, they actually have manpower cost of around, as of 2018, it was 14 billion pesos. So it's really going to be difficult without the advertising revenues. They're going to have a hard time doing it. But on the good side, just want to say that ABS-CBN actually has a lot of cash. It has a healthy balance sheet. For example, as of the first 9 months of last year, as of end September, it had around 20 billion pesos worth of cash and short-term investments, whereas its obligation is around 16 billion. So if you take those into consideration, it still has around 4 billion left over, which should allow it to continue operating or continue paying the salaries of workers for maybe a little bit more than 3 months.
3 months, if they can pay with their additional cash that they currently have on hand. But if Congress can't act immediately on the franchise due, of course, to COVID-19 and other issues, what are the other options for ABS-CBN to get funding? Can they basically shift some funds from their real estate and power generation assets or borrow to keep ABS-CBN afloat past these 3 months?
Yeah, I think it will be very difficult to convince, say, the investors, existing investors, or even new investors to pump fresh capital. And even for the banks to lend money, because we don't even know if they will be granted that franchise. So whoever infuses capital or lends money to ABS is at risk that they might not be paid off. So we really might see these people or most of the employees lose their jobs if they're not given a franchise in the next 3 months.
All right, April, so far, ABS-CBN has not submitted its comprehensive corporate disclosure to the Philippine Stock Exchange. So now that they still haven't submitted it, then the stock trading of ABS-CBN shares and its depository receipts will remain suspended until it is submitted. As head of research, what can you tell investors of what the future holds for the company? What should they do with the stock when the trading suspension is lifted?
Yeah, I mean, it's really very difficult for us. Before this event happened, I mean, the stock was already so cheap, trading at 4 to 5 times PE. It's like, I think we had the buy recommendation on the stock, but right now, so much uncertainty. We don't even know if it will be allowed to operate or if it will remain closed for a very long time. So I guess if you own the stock, most likely, if you can't afford to wait or it's a significant part of your portfolio, there's no choice but to, cut your losses and stay on the sidelines first, because we don't know how long this will drag on.
And of course, with the trading halt of ABS-CBN shares in today's trading on the stock exchange, its rival, GMA7, its stock price surged more than 20%. Do you expect advertising spending to shift to this network following the ABS-CBN shutdown?
I think, some advertising will shift, but of course, there is a natural, I would say, limitation because, for example, for every hour, or I think most of the advertisers want to be in the prime time slot. But as a TV station, you only have so many minutes that you can sell to advertisers. So you can't
Mhm.
get everything. You also have to stop at a certain stage, or there is a limitation. I think, you know, maybe there'll be some miracle where ABS adopts a Netflix type of model and becomes very profitable in the short term. Then who knows, But at this stage, where 50% of the revenues are still advertising using a free to air channel, then it's very difficult to expect that to happen, in the short term at least.
April Tan, thank you so much for your insights on ABS-CBN. She is the head of research for COL Financial. And we'll be taking the short break. And when we